Administrative Office located at 2400 Willow Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting will be held via Zoom video conference for participants. Viewers will be able to watch VA North Rock School District Facebook page live stream Thursday, July 22nd, 23rd, 2020, 5:30 p.m. I officially call the meeting to order. Ms. Colquitt, please call the roll.
Sandy Campbell.
Here.
Elizabeth Huggins.
Here.
Rocha Redis. Tracy Steele. Cindy Temple.
Here.
She need to, she's on. Now she's
Here.
Okay.
Can you hear?
Natalie Wacom.
Here.
Dorothy Williams.
here.
I didn't get a chance to say here.
Okay. At this time, we will have the new business for the 2020-2021 district calendar presented Dr. Jacob Smith, Executive Director of Human Resources.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President and board members. We brought the calendar to the LPPC and CPPC over the past week, and this is the calendar that was approved by both parties. And so we ask you tonight to vote on this option one.
Okay, at this time, I will call the roll for comments on this section. Ms. Sandy Campbell.
I'm gonna say no because it needs to be consistent on the holidays. I'm only one off the wall.
Okay, Ms. Huggins.
I couldn't hear what Ms. Campbell said.
Ms. Campbell, would you repeat your statement, please? Oh, she's muted. She needs to get unmuted. Unmute. Okay, Ms. Campbell, make your statement, please.
What I said was I looked at the calendar and I have had probably 25 or 30 emails, texts, or phone calls about this calendar. And it's gonna have to have some work done on it because one of the problems that everybody's seeing is the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Normally we have it off and they're wondering why.
Okay, Ms. Huggins.
Yeah, so I've gotten a lot of those emails and texts too, and I understand, you know, that we have to have a certain number of instructional days in every quarter, and if we've started late, then can we not bump the ends of our quarters?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know.
Dr.
I think that we need to discuss options because certainly not only the teachers and other staff members have made plans based on the calendar that was released, but other people have too. Okay. And I know Dr. McGee said maybe it was an option to do virtual classrooms that week.
Okay. At this time, Dr. Rochelle.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not pleased with the calendar. I think we need to look at that Thanksgiving week, and I know that it went to the LPPC, but I don't believe everybody or the majority were reached because there are a lot of surprised people out there that did not even know that the calendar had been revised.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think that we need to relook at it and we need to make sure that it gets.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Steele, he is not on. Ms. Temple?
Yes, I agree. We need to revisit that and get more buy-in on the calendar.
Okay. Ms. Walken?
I'd like for us to listen to the teachers, actually hear them and listen to them and their input. I would also like for us to think outside of the box in this global pandemic that we're in right now. And honestly, as a parent, I want a whole week for Thanksgiving, not just as a board member, but as a parent. I know some of our teachers who are my friends personally also need a mental break because of what's going on right now.
Okay, and my concern is that Dr. Smith, if you contact the LPPC to have them to send out a survey to all the employees so that they can have a voice in this. I know they're represented by the LPPC and the Classroom Teachers Association, but that's on a small number compared to the number of employees we have in the district. And to be fair and equitable about the situation, if you would recommend that to both groups, because you have met with them and you say they approved of it, but the concerns with the calls that the board members have received, teachers felt that they should have had more input into the calendar. So I think that would be a recommendation if the board agreed to. Would somebody put that to a motion since everybody disagreed with the calendar?
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we set aside the calendar that was presented to us tonight and that we send it back to central office and the LPPC and all of the other teachers for a survey.
Second.
Okay, then moved and properly second that we table the calendar until a future meeting. And those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. And Dr. McGee, while you're on that, I would like for you to address to the board about the days that the state has recommended and required to us, and so that everybody can have a clear understanding of what direction we need to take on this.
Are you referring to the calendar, Madam President?
Yes, in the 40 day, the 40
Oh, yes.
days.
Yeah. Let me say good evening, Madam President and the board members. We all know that we're governed by the Department of Education, so we have to have a minimum of 40 days in the grading period, not to exceed 50 days. So, and I want to say this too, and I want to publicly thank Dr. Smith. And Dr. Smith and I both have heard a lot of the concerns from the teachers, and he has constantly been looking at the calendar. So he is prepared to already go and do some things to try to work and try to accommodate the concerns that had been submitted. So I appreciate Dr. Smith and for his diligence on that. He had already begun to work at it. But since it was voted on both committees, we just assumed that it was ready to go. So that's why we presented it to the board. But we are prepared to go and look at that. But again, per the ADE, we got to have a minimum of 40 days in each grading period, not to exceed 50 days. We are at some limits. First quarter, we're at 40 days, so we can't go past 40. And for second quarter, we're at 41. So the bulk of the work that we can do is between the third and fourth quarter. So that's where we are with the calendar. But I'm confident again in Dr. Smith, and he can get this and get it done and present it back to both committees, and they can get feedback from both all the staff, and then they can let us know where we are.
Okay, well, I appreciate your input, Dr. McGee.
Thank you.
Were there other comments before we closed on this? Other board members that you had any afterthoughts or questions you would like to ask Dr. McGee on this? You have a clarity on the days that he explained.
I do, and I just a suggestion. I don't know if we can do that or not, because we are, because it's a great possibility that we may end up virtual. Can some of the days be before the 14th, which is when everybody's supposed to come back?
You faded out. I'm sorry, I missed that. You faded out.
I'm sorry. I was just asking about starting a few days before the 14th, so that we can maybe make those to help with the virtual preparation for virtual.
Are you talking about student contact days before the 14th? Is that what you're speaking of?
The teachers.
Are you talking about the
teachers? Would that make a difference with the 40?
That doesn't make a difference. That won't make a difference. That doesn't make a difference. We're talking about student contact days.
Okay.
So yeah, that does. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other board members, have you had any thoughts to what Dr. McGee just quoted to us?
Yes, ma'am. I have one suggestion, so to say. Not only the week of Thanksgiving, but can Jacob and yourself also consider something to do with the parent-teacher conferences, whether we make those virtual days as well, where our teachers can reach out
Thank you.
via phone or in person, something of that nature. But 12-hour shifts are hard, and I speak from experience when I say that. 12 hours are very hard, and it's really hard to be 100% and be at your best the next day after a 12-hour shift. Going home to our own families and taking care of them in addition to our work responsibilities. So I would really like for y'all to consider something again outside of the box for that.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We had already thought of that. We had already taken that in consideration that the parent teacher conference we thought needed to be virtual to accommodate the staff and during this pandemic. And I was even go a little step further. We even thought, thinking out of the box, the days before Thanksgiving, that we're in conversation with ADE to get those days virtual. So we were already thinking outside the box. What the calendar is that this is where the days that we said that we're going to be in school, whether that's virtual or on site. So that's what we were presenting. Dr. Smith was working on with the other HR directors in Central Arkansas to try to go ahead and revise. So we're prepared to go to the table and try to wrap this up in working with our teachers and all of our stakeholders, parents and our teachers and classified staff.
And Dr.
Thank
McGee,
you.
in your report that you bring to us on the 6th of August, would you make sure that Leanne has set up a plan for the special needs students plus the 504, everything, so that when you present us the last statements from Arkansas Department of Education, we can tell the parents specifically what we're going to do and how
Yes.
we're going to do it, since that is her field, and
Yes.
she can tell us specifically how we will get those kids or reach those children. That's so important.
Yes, and let me say this, that's a lot of the plans are already done. We will continue to add to the plans in that reopening planning document. I am going to take a simplified version of the planning document, put it in a little presentation so that everybody can see that all that has been created and been done, from how we're going to reopen school, how we're going to educate the different kids and from that need special services, whether it be 504, special ed, dyslexia, and all of those kids. We will continue to monitor and adjust and update the document as we see fit. Please be mindful that the 2 elementary and secondary directors have already submitted the re-entry plan that is in their planning document that I will resend out to the board, that is listed and located on our website. Each school will have what we call standard operating procedures that will be hyperlinked in that one document so that parents, everybody, and all stakeholders can go to that one document, see everything. But as a district, we will present a district presentation to you guys shortly. Hopefully we can have it by the end of next week so that you'll know how we're operating from the district level in terms of everything. And each school will have their own standard operating procedure, if that makes sense. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Steele, I noticed that you came in and the only thing we were discussing was basically the calendar, and the board, basically, we voted to send the calendar back so that all employees in the district could have a survey would be sent out, that they would have an input as to whether they would have 3-day or week for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I totally agree.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we have Dr. McGee, you're still on the business office items.
Yeah, I thought that our CFO was going to be on. In fact, he's on. He's the one that's going to present this. There are some items that we need the board to approve and that we need to get done. Number one is what we call Naviance. Naviance, the ADE requires us to have a student success plan, and the ADE fund parts of Naviance to help us do that plan from the high school level and the 8th grade students. The other part of that, the part that they do not finance, we have to purchase, and we fund that out of our Perkins Fund. And Brian, help me if I'm misquoting anything. We fund that out of our Perkins Fund. So we need that approved tonight. The deadline it was the 21st. They have extended that to us until tomorrow. So we just need to get that approved so that we can make sure our high schools are equipped to get this student success plan along with our 8th graders that we need to use the software. And then Brian can present the other 2.
Right. So, and those of you that have maybe dealt with the school career interest survey in the past, you've probably heard the word CUTR exam. That's this Naviance replaces the CUTR exam. It's been bought out and changed, but Dr. McGee is correct. The Naviance, the CUTR exam, that is sole source item, and it is paid for out of Perkins, out of federal funds. The other 2 items were brought to me this week by maintenance, and Mr. Hatch says those are critical items that we need to move on for time purposes. The middle item there is Middleton Heat and Air. It's demo and replacement of 2 kitchen boilers, the ones at the middle school, North Little Rock Middle School. And I believe that's there's several weeks there that's going to be that involves ordering and demo and replacement. So he needs some lead time on that. So he's asked me to accelerate that and get that to you for your approval. And also the Tarkett, it's LVT floor installation. He's got 2 of those that needs to happen at the Academy and at Crestwood. And I don't know the areas where they're installed. Dr. McGee, you may be able to speak to that.
Yeah, let me start. The Academy, that's when the asbestos that's in the cafeteria at the Academy. We need to get that abated, and this is what to get that abated and resurface and repurpose that floor. And so that's what we're trying to, Mr. Hatch is trying to get done with the Academy. And of course, with Crestwood, that's that damage that took place from that from the water damage that it caused, and that Metro News have to clean. That they're trying to get done with that as well. So that's what those items are about.
And that I wanted to say the boiler. There's actually an agreement between Child Nutrition and Maintenance. Child Nutrition covers the equipment, so Fund 8,000. Child Nutrition is going to pay for the boiler, the materials, and the tax. And Maintenance the operating fund will pay for the labor on that. And then the Tarkett, that's actually going to be, we're requesting that to be out of the building fund, and that requires board approval. So we're asking for your approval on these 3 business items tonight.
You're on, she unmuted. Say it again, Ms. Campbell.
Do you hear me?
I can now. Yes, ma'am.
Will it be finished at Crestwood when school starts? Because I've had my phones rung off the wall.
I can answer that, Miss Campbell. Yes, right now the deadline is scheduled to be completed by the 24th. And however, they're going to try their best to push it and to get it completed a couple of days before the 24th, that wing. So they're estimating they will have the wing already done, but by the time they finalize, everything is working, no leaks and things are ready to go, and kids can go back into that room is the 24th. So that's what that's the estimated time frame for that. And the estimated time for the Academy is roughly a little bit before the 24th as well. So the cafeteria floor should be completed as well before we start.
Because I guarantee you our parents will be down here.
Okay, are there other comments from any of the board members about the items before we vote on them? Any questions or concerns? If not, would a board member please make a motion that we accept the business office item?
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the business items for Naviance, Middleton Heat and Air, and Tarkett, found on page 4 out of our board packet.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept the North Rock School District business office items for the agenda tonight. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None. So the motion is carried. At this
Thank
time,
you.
Dr. McGee, you are still on.
I am still on for the last item, and I'm gonna have the HR director, Dr. Smith, to come along and join me on this right here, or Mr. Brown. It was brought to my attention that regarding a position that was mischaracterized and regarding how the position in terms of the work. So the goal here is a job description that would help as we continue to try to repair and fix things and classify people accordingly. And that is the job of the e-school, e-finance special assistant. I'm gonna stop here and let Brian or Jacob to come in and chime in on how they would like to add anything to the job description here that's been listed.
Okay. Dr. McGee asked Brian, you or Dr. Smith, if either one of you, otherwise I will begin with the board so that they can have their comments.
We have updated the job description to reflect the current job duties of that particular position. And I just wanted to say, the last two people that have held that position, they've been hired in at a secretary position, and the skills that they learn there are very marketable. And obviously, because we have people that get poached by other districts because of their skill sets, and that's what we're faced with. Is that this is the skill set there is not that of being a secretary. It is being responsible for cycle 2 through 7. Cycle reporting, which controls all of our funding that we receive from E. And it's a very specialized position with specialized roles. That's also Kathy Hale's responsibility as well. And those two people together control all the coding in eSchool on the student side that controls our funding that we get from ADE. So, we've made our adjustments to the job description and submit that to HR, and I think Jacob's office has reviewed it and some revisions as well.
Okay, Dr. Smith, did you have anything you would like to put before the board, have their discussions on it?
No, ma'am, just we had a lot of input and we ended up with this final product. And
Thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Campbell?
I can't vote for it.
Unmute. Unmute yourself.
Ms. Huggins?
I appreciate the work that we're doing to go through all of these and make sure that everybody is properly classified with the proper salaries and job descriptions.
Dr. Redis?
Thank you, Dr. Smith and Dr. McGee and Brian Brown. Y'all working on that to try to bring everything to make it cohesive across the board. So I'm ready to vote.
Okay, Ms. Temple? I'm sorry, Mr. Steele?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of questions. When this position changes, will we eliminate another position, or is this just adding a position?
Oh, sir, this is just us reclassifying an already existing position.
Okay.
Okay, so would it be advertised, or is the person in the position going to be put?
I can answer that question. We're going to do it the right way. That's why we're going to bring it to the board. We will advertise that position, and we will advertise it just like we did the last couple of advertising. We would like to do it internal first. So that was our goal, was to do it internal first, to try to use the human capital that we have to give those who are interested in that position.
Okay.
Is there an increase in pay for the position after the reclassification?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we know how much?
It would depend on who acquired the job. It would be
What's
the
the range on that?
well, it would be on the tech scale, the 6P2 versus the secretary scale, the clerical scale.
Okay. Mrs. Steele, did that cover you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Temple.
Yeah, I've gotten all the information I need.
Okay. Natalie Walker.
I've got a few things. One, we need to advertise it. Two, it's a slap in the face to our teachers and our administrators that we would jump from, I'm going to use the salary of $30,000 to $57,000. That's a good little increase. Matter of fact, I may quit my job and go and apply for that position because crap is all I'm going to say. 3, I don't like it. I understand that we came to you. We've asked you to pay attention to jobs, salaries. We've asked you to pay attention to the titles that match the salaries. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. And I understand and I appreciate you guys doing it the correct way and wanting to correct it. Thank you for that. But I also have some people that are being overpaid. So can we start with those first before we start increasing others' pay? Because at this point, how are we paying for this? And when we're trying to pay a superintendent that we haven't hired yet, $200,000, where is that money going to come from when I'm increasing one position by 20,000 plus? And here, I mean, Cindy and I were haggling over $15,000. So I really need y'all to start paying attention to the big picture.
Okay. Before I speak, number one, I had concerns with this. Number one, Brian, or you, Dr. Smith, you created a position without the board's consent. We had no input into it, and that's not following policy. And then number two, when you put it out, then you did not post it. So as a board member should understand, we must follow policy. And this, to me, in the future, and I'm speaking, pandemic is out. We don't even know how many children are coming back to school. I have a problem. And with that, and to sit up and say, we're gonna give $20,000 from a person's, from $37,000 to $57,000. And Brian, when the board asked you about 3 weeks ago, if we had money enough to pay a superintendent of $245,000, you said, well, maybe $15,000. Well, how can we come up with 20,000? We don't even know if we're gonna have the students. And the only position I would like to see us hire again would have to come from the Arkansas Department of Education telling us that we need that position. I have no problems with what you tell me about your needs, but I have a policy with you not following policy and presenting it to the board correctly. So at this time, we will have an official vote of acceptance of this East End School Finance Security. Call the roll, Ms. Cole, quick.
No.
There needs to be a motion.
Okay,
We need,
Madam Parliamentarian,
yes.
You're correct.
Question.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. We do need a motion before we vote.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we set aside the job description for eSchool and that we place it on the workshop so we can discuss it in further.
Second.
It has been moved and properly that we table this until a future date, until everything is followed by policy. Those in favor, call the roll, please.
Cindy Campbell. Elizabeth Huggins.
Yes.
Russia Redis.
No.
Tracy Steele.
yes.
When I say, excuse me, let's go back. When I say no, I'm saying no because I wanted to vote to accept it, correct?
To
That's
accept.
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just making sure.
Cindy Temple,
Yes.
Natalie Wankham,
Yes.
Dorothy Williams.
We say the yes is to move it.
Mhm.
All right, so we've heard the
Madam
motion. Would you tell
Madam
us?
President?
I'm sorry, Mr. Steele.
Yes, I asked about that salary, and I did not get a response. And that's why I voted the way I did. But where did we get, and then I think Ms. Walkham said 30, you said 37. And I guess we could look at go to the workshop and get the exact, but when we get there, I would like the exact pay that the person will be eligible for, or the exact range.
Okay, I can understand that because on this, they said that a person could have an associate degree and have this particular job. They didn't have to necessarily have 4 years of college. So that would be the determining factor, I guess, is who is qualified for the job to
Correct.
make the
Well,
amount
this-
of money that was presented to us.
And this is something that, that I don't know that everybody's aware of, is this person who has the position now is eligible. I mean, she has all the credentials to step in and take her supervisor's position if that ever was necessary. So she's highly able to fill a slot in the future. So
That is correct. That is
Yeah.
correct, Mr.
Yeah.
Temple.
But it would depend on the salary scale, the qualifications of that person.
Correct. It'll depend on the student, excuse me, the staff that takes that job and what they have, the credentials.
right, the one who's currently occupying that position is all I'm saying.
Correct. She has a bachelor, a master's, and is a licensed, a certified licensed school counselor from the Department of Education.
I think the basic cause that we were getting when people saw this, Mr. Steele, the question referring back to you, that a person was making a salary of $37,000 and they would receive a $20,000 increase. And that's why all the board members started getting calls. But the concern I had, again, as I said, it was not followed, policy was not followed in the process.
And we're not denying it or rejecting it. We're just moving it to the workshop and allow them to follow policy and bring it back. Am I correct?
That's true if the board wants to hire. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you're quite welcome. So at this time, Madam
Madam President,
Parliamentarian.
may I say something before we close,
Oh,
please?
yes.
Madam President and members of the board, first I want to say thank you guys for your support, but I also want to thank these gentlemen for their hard work that they are doing. One of the things that you guys charge us on is make sure that we properly place the staff, and they are working diligently to continue to do that. And not only that, I want to continue to thank and public and thank all of our administrators and district and building administrators and counselors and teachers for their cooperation, their dedication during this pandemic. We continue to work together. We know that a lot of people have a lot of concerns, and we are honoring and listening to the concerns of all of our stakeholders, from parents to our students to everyone. And I just want everybody to know that this team is doing an outstanding job, and I think they need to be applauded for their work that they're doing. And I do not want to go us to lead without thanking this team spearheaded by Mr. Brown and Mr. Smith and all of the others, Brian Staggers and all the ones in central office staff that are doing the work, and these building principals and counselors and teachers. So again, I just want to take a moment to say thank you and thank them and thank our parents. During this pandemic, we know that these are uncharted times. So we ask that you continue to be patient, with us as we continue to wait and work with our Arkansas Department of Education. And we ask for your cooperation as well. So thank you again, board, for your support, and thank all of the ones.
Okay, Dr. Redis, we're in the process of voting, and it was never carried through.
Correct.
But you stopped, I asked how you were voting. So Ms. Colquitt, if she will clarify what the vote was for so you can hear it again and you know how you voted. She was calling the roll.
Redis, are you wanting to change your vote? This is to
No.
the job
No.
description move to the workshop.
No, I got it. We just need to finish the motion.
The motion passed.
There we go. That's it.
Okay, next person. We didn't finish, did we? What was the majority?
It was 6-1.
Okay, 6-1. Okay, the motion has been carried to
There we
6-1
go.
that we tabled this until the workshop is held for further discussion,
There we
until
go.
policy is followed, then we will consider this matter. Those in favor, the motion has already been carried,
Mm-hmm.
and the vote was 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you. And now, Dr. McGee, that is the last item, but on the workshop, would you please, you and Dr. Smith and Brian, would you all be able to address to the board about the concerns of the painters that we have in the district? So when we get to workshop, I have a clarity on that. I don't know what the issue is, but I'm presenting it to you now. So something for discussion when we do have it, okay?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
will.
Do any of you board members at this time, on the 3rd, we will meet with Dr. Davis, probably the first presentation about prospective superintendents. And then on the 6th, we will have our workshop. If there are any items that you would like to have on the workshop for further discussion, you may contact Ms. Colquitt, and she will in turn contact Dr. McGee to follow up to see if we are not having a conflict with other things he may have come up with. I do know at the 6th, he is going to have a presentation to the North Rock School District about what we are going to do as a board for our stakeholders, for everybody. And so, Dr. McGee, you can just expound on that just a little bit more. You said you was going to do it on the 6th.
Yes. Remember, board members, I brought to you guys the two options that have been created regarding the reopening of school. That's the virtual and the traditional. However, with concerns and the rising cases of active cases in the Pulaski County, we are looking at some different things, and we're waiting on further guidance. And then I would like to make that presentation to the board.
Okay. And remember, board members, it will be open for discussion, but we are trying to settle this. We've been doing a lot of talking, and parents are saying we're not moving. And Dr. McGee, hopefully he says that he would have heard everything from the education department, and he will have everything in line that we for North Rock can do for our stakeholders, our staff, for everybody, and for our students. And so would any of you all like have any comments to what Dr. McGee has just said?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes.
Yes, I would just like to see an all-inclusive, comprehensive document or a manual even on re-entry and how we're going to proceed with this school year. We've approved a lot of things and got a lot of information, and Dr. McGee has done a good job, but it's all been kind of fragmented. So we can have one document so that, and in time for parents to be able to make a decision on which option they want to choose. And so I know he's working on that, but if that will be ready in time for the board meeting or another special meeting, but it's critical that it's put together and distributed so parents can have plenty of time to choose their option.
Very good. And Dr. McGee has expressed a very strong commitment that he will do everything he possibly can to have us something on August 6th,
Six.
whatever that. He's been talking to Dr. Keys for 2 days, I understand. So, and Dr. Keys has been talking to the governor. So everybody's really trying to work together, and we want to do what's best for the North Rock, our students, our parents, everybody, workers, staff, just everybody. And so with that thought in mind, Dr. McGee, did you have anything else to say? Board members, speak up.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate all of you. And again, Dr. McGee, I want to thank you and your staff for all of your hard work that you all have been doing. And I commend you on all the Zoom meetings you've been on. I don't know how you do it, but you're young enough to do it, I guess. But we appreciate you very much. To do 6 Zooms in one day, that is remarkable. But we appreciate your work. And remember, board members, as I always said, Dr. Butcher always told us, let the person who get paid do their job. And then we can come in and support them. Thank you. If no further
Madam
ado,
Chair.
stay safe.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Oh, it's been moved and properly second that we adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Very good. And thank you, board
Aye.
members.